with the situation that's being done by the Israelis. We need to talk to them. Babons. We need to talk to them. Ceasefire. Ceasefire. How are you?
I'm good, my brother.
How are you? We are with you. Can you please tell us about the situation in Gaza right now?
Tell me what this is for. This is your podcast.
This is for my YouTube channel.
It's for your YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
So we're staff and students from WITS, and we're a part of a group that's called WUPAC, WITS University Palestinian.
That's WUPAC, W-O-O-PAC.
W-U-P-A-C.
That's a nice word.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Shout out. So, as you know, there's been a ceasefire for 4 days. They've extended it for 2 more days.
Yes,
but what we're calling for is a permanent end to the occupation in Gaza, and also ensuring that people have the right to return back to Palestine, and that there is a humanitarian and political resolution to the conflict that is happening, and allow Palestinian people to return to their land.
But did they not just release about 25 hostages about a few days back?
There are thousands of Palestinians in detention.
And why do you think they should go out?
You know how you're a South African and have freedom, my brother? This is how we got here. So the international community stood up, they boycotted, they had sanctions against South Africa, they refused to give us, trade with us, do sports with us, so that they could put pressure. So we had the Kondoisizwe in the armed struggle, we had artists across the world making sure that the message was loud and clear, and so the international community stood by us so that we could have freedom. It's only right that we stand by Palestinians so they can have freedom too.
Thank you. Do you think what you're doing right now will make a difference?
I hope so.
You hope so?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Can you please tell me what do you think about what's going on? Sorry.
What's going on is terrible. The scale of a destruction and deaths in Gaza over the last month and a half has been just terrifying. We are dealing with it's been a genocide of the Palestinian population. It needs to end, and for this to be resolved, ultimately the occupation needs to end, and Palestinians must have the right to return to their land and live in a society where everybody is equal.
Do you see it happening though? With all of the things that are happening right now with...
Well, that's why we are here.
It's a sad situation, you know. I don't even know what to think about it, on whether it's going to end or whether it's going to get worse. Do you think it's going to get better or worse?
It will end. Oppression can't last forever, you know? They thought apartheid would last forever, and it ended.
But who is eating right now from making sure that the Palestinians are still
careful, don't get hit by a car.
Are still, who is benefiting? Have we ever thought about who are the benefactors of this war?
So there have been countless books, and in fact there's a book launch right now if you want to learn more at the Forge down the road, where Professor Stephen Friedman is going to be speaking about the issue to make sure that as many people know about the situation, because what's happening to the people of Palestine is happening to the people in the Congo, is happening to the people in Sudan, and it's imperialism. So we must stop imperialism. It's not fair, and everyone must have equal rights. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You can hear what the people have to think about Palestine. I do not know how to comment, because I know that there's plenty of people that are eating from this war. That's why they don't want it to end. Can I please have a word with you?
Sure.
No more stolen land, no more stolen lives. Free Palestine. Why do you feel the need to want to make a contribution to the freeing of the Palestinian people?
Because the Palestinians have been robbed of their land. And we know currently there's a genocide at play. We know every day the numbers that are being killed, the numbers of children that are being killed, the people serving under something called administrative detention. Yeah, it's horrible, and it's diabolical that this continues while the rest of the world in this day and age isn't putting a stop to it. And this hasn't started on October the 7th, as many people believe, or that's been reported in the mainstream media. It started 75 years ago.
This is why there's outlets like this.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be standing here every day, whether it's 2 or 5 or 4 of us, until this stops. And we hope people of all good conscience will join us, because if we turn away from this, tomorrow it could be any of us.
True.
Free Palestine.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Palestinians, Jews, and people of conscience. In solidarity. In solidarity, how are you?
Well, thanks. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm well enough. Thank you. Please tell me about whether you think what you are doing right now will make a difference to what is going on in Gaza.
Well, absolutely. It would make a difference, even if it is to one person. It's some difference because there is a need to raise awareness, especially in the name of humanity. And this hasn't been going on just from October 7th. This is now 75 years. And I think that we need to be overt about it, knowing where we as South Africans come from as well.
But what would you say to people that say that when people do these type of things, there are certain organizations that they are behind that stand to benefit or that have businesses in Gaza, and maybe it's just a money move and you are not really trying to actually help?
I would say in the name of humanity, we need to think about this very carefully. Are we looking at the economics of life, at globalization, or are we looking at the number of people alive? So that's important for me.
Okay, but if someone would say that there's been situations like these in Africa that have been happening for the past about 100 years, if I'm not mistaken, why has there been no action taken towards helping them, but there's action towards helping people in Gaza?
Well, action has been taken, but in small pockets and in silos, I would say. And I think then we need to actually take that action when it becomes more overt, I would say. And if it's a genocide, then we need to act.
Sudan?
Sooner against injustices, any injustice against mankind.
Thank you very much. This is Richelwane, and this has been me covering the situation that has been going on out here with the people in Gaza. The people in Gaza are in a lot of trouble, if I would put it like that. And I think there's, I don't actually know what to think, but yeah. I'm sorry, would you care to say a word? Would you?
Yeah, I mean, I heard you asking about, why not the same concern shown for what's happening here. I think a lot of us, the activists, do what they can. It's not just a Palestinian thing. Normally, people that do this kind of work would be concerned about all the other social ills and issues happening, and perhaps it's not as visible, but I would imagine that we can see why a genocide doesn't compare to some of the social ills, like you were saying, the apartheid regime and all of that.
Not to cut you off, but I was actually alluding to what is going on in places like Somalia, in places like Sudan, in places like the TRC, where most of the people are trying to find a way to help themselves, but they are in actual slavery, if I can put it like that, for lack of a better word. This is what I was alluding to.
Apologies, I didn't hear that part or the noise. But again, I want to reiterate that the people doing the activism are concerned about the same issues, right? And perhaps it's just not as visible. But activism comes in different forms, and like a lot of people that might not be visible out here, that might be contributing in other ways. For example, raising funds, for example, awareness, physically going there and doing their part. So activism, I think, comes in many forms. And yes, I mean, we've never seen the kind of awareness and support that's happening now. and particularly because the world has been made aware, like from social media and a whole lot. We're not just hearing from the media, but we're actually seeing what's happening on the ground. And I think if we can get that same kind of exposure, perhaps, in like countries like Somalia and all the other countries, I mean, certainly, if we can create that same awareness.
What would you say to the fact that maybe they don't want to show that certain kind of awareness because they know who is benefiting from this war, and that they don't want to show who is actually benefiting from the things that are happening in Africa? Would you say that we are focusing more on what is happening outside of Africa instead of what is happening in Africa that is affecting us daily? Would you say that?
I I don't think I'm the best person to be asking that. All I can say is that the awareness that has been created on social media, on all platforms all over the world, it could be that, yes, we haven't got that same kind of exposure within Africa, or it could be that people care less. I don't know.
Or maybe they're suppressing it.
Maybe they're suppressing it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. This has been Richilwane for DSL Network. Move. This has been Richilwane for DSL Network. We're currently covering the things that are happening in Gaza, and we have just heard from the WUPAC group. Thank you very much for your word, and shout out to the shout outers. Yes, sir.
This is Kudala, Kudala, the Zola, the Fonana, yeah.